We don't have any statistics. Let's check our unofficial stats. All in favor of the Giants. Here we are. Look at the first downs. Yards rushing. Oilers haven't had one passing yard today. There's your total yards.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time any day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. And before I get started, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone out there who's been watching my videos. Thank you. If you can maybe give this video a thumbs up or possibly leave a comment below, maybe even share this video. It would mean so much to me. But at least anyway, just thank you so much for just taking time out of your day to check out this video. Thank you. Well, I keep seeing all of this, especially around the Hall of Fame time, the Eli Manning, it's Eli, the debate. Eli Manning is he a Hall of Fame quarterback, should be in there and all that and everything. Well, Eli, he retired obviously after the 2019 season. That was Daniel Jones, obviously his first year. So the way it works, so he's got to wait 5 full seasons, and then the Hall of Fame selection after that season, he'll be eligible. So he's been out for 2 seasons, obviously, right? So he's been out for 2020 and 2021. So he's still got to wait 2022 season, the 2023 season, and then the 2024 season. And then in the, in the beginning, I guess it's still the winter time, but 2025 of the year, not the 2025 season, but the very beginning of 2025. That's when they elect the Hall of Famers. That's when he'll be eligible for. Right. So, first ballot, we'll see. But Hall of Famer, absolutely. But you got to consider. The way that some of the guys are just putting in, like nowadays, it just seems like to me, I'm just kind of, some of them, I'm just kind of shaking my head. You know what I mean? So if I'm looking at some of these guys that they're putting in, okay, and you consider like what Eli did, wasn't played many games with the Giants, but it was those 2 special, wonderful seasons that he did. And you compare it to some of these other guys that they're wanting to put in there. It's like, heck yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, absolutely. I like the class from 2020, Cliff Harris. He was a safety for the Dallas Cowboys back in the 70s. I don't know, maybe it was just a lack of, we didn't have phenomenal safeties back then. I think he was like 6 straight Pro Bowls at the end of his career. He only had 29 interceptions. He played 10 years. He went to 5 Super Bowls. They won 2. But, I'm just like, Cliff Harris. I never, ever watched, because back then, I was living in New York. I'm in South Jersey now, but back then, living in New York, I'm like, just like, a lot of times the Giant games were blacked out. So, the Cowboys were literally on TV. I'm living in Long Island. I'm living in Esconset, Long Island. Right? And literally, the Cowboys are on TV more than the Giants were, because the Giants kept getting blacked out all the time. And the Cowboys were on almost every freaking week. And I never, ever remember watching a Cowboy game back then and just saying, man, Cliff Harris, that dude's something. He's special. That dude is just taking over the game. Oh, man. I'm like, really? Cliff Harris? Yeah. The Hall of Fame's for like Troy Polamalu, Ronnie Lott, Ed Reed, guys like that. Guys just dominating, taking over games, killing people. Cliff Harris, are you freaking serious? He's part of the 2020. I don't know what's going on. It seems like it's like every year they got to get like more and more. We need more and more guys going to Hall of Fame. They had like 13 guys in the Centennial class, because football started in 1920. So now it's 2020. So the 100 years. they 13 guys in. It's like almost kind of like seems like it's to the point where it's like just give me a name. We'll just anybody. Yeah, that guy. All right, yeah, okay, he'll be a Hall of Famer. Anybody, it's just like they're just bringing anybody in there. So I mean, if they're bringing somebody's guy, I mean, heck yeah, Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer. This last class we got Bryant Young. I mean, yeah, okay, but Hall of Famer, yeah. I mean, I got him up on here. He amassed 89.5 sacks over his career. He played in 14 seasons, so he had 89 sacks. He had double-digit sacks 2 times. I mean, he went to the Pro Bowl 4 times, and he was an All-Pro twice. He played in 1 Super Bowl. He played in 2 championship games. I mean, the 1 Super Bowl he was in that they won, they beat the Chargers. I mean, he had 3 tackles and 2 assists. I mean, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, 89. Yes. I mean, the guy Jim Marshall played for 20 seasons. He played from 1960 to 1979. 1961 to 1979, Jim Marshall played for the Vikings. He played in 270 straight games from 61 to 79. 270 straight games. 17 of those seasons, there was only 14 games. So if he was playing the way it is nowadays, we'd just say 16 games in the schedule. He would have played an additional 34 more games. He might have played in 304 straight games. He played 20 seasons. He, according to Pro Football Focus, because they can figure out sacks, none of them are official, but they can kind of figure out about how many sacks. He had 130.5 sacks. 130.5. He played 20 seasons, 270 straight games. He played in 4 championship games. He played in 4 Super Bowls. He played in 19 playoff games. He was an All-Pro only twice. All right, but, I mean, he's got some accomplishment. He's not in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's just it's like the Hall of Fame is supposed to be for, can you tell the story of football without, can you talk about the story of football without Cliff Harris? Yeah. These are the guys for going into, this is for you telling the story of professional football. Those are the guys that deserve to go in the Hall of Fame. All right? And that's Eli Manning, without a question. Now, another one of the things, you got, if you got Joe Namath in there, all right, absolutely, I'm happy Joe Namath's in there. But, I mean, if Joe Namath, he's in there for the Hall of Fame. You know why? For 1 game. All right? His 1 victory in Super Bowl III. He was the MVP. He didn't. Matt Snell was the only one who scored a touchdown for the Jets. He didn't throw a touchdown pass. He didn't run a touchdown, nothing. And he was the MVP of that game. He didn't throw a touchdown pass. And actually, in the 4th quarter, Joe Namath did not throw a pass in the 4th quarter of that Super Bowl, and he was the MVP of the Super Bowl. After Super Bowl III, Joe Namath never beat another team with a winning record. So from 1969 to 1977, after he retired, those years, he never beat a team with a winning record. And he finished with 173 touchdown passes, 220 interceptions. He's a Hall of Famer. He was like 0-6 or 0-7 on Monday Night Football. I mean, his last game he ever played was a Monday Night Football game against the Bears. I think he threw 5 interceptions in the first half, and then they benched him. One of the interceptions was called back as a penalty or something like that. So actually, he only threw 4 interceptions. Well, not only. Threw 4 interceptions, I think, in the first half against the Bears, and the Rams wound up losing that game. And then he just sat on the bench the rest of the season, and he wound up retiring. But, I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame because he won 1 game. Right? Eli Manning's statistics are far better than his, and Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. 2 Super Bowl MVPs, so heck yeah. Can you tell the story of football without talking about the 2007 New York Giants beating the 18-0 Patriots? Or the 2011 Super Bowl? Heck no. Eli Manning, absolutely. Now, I mean, obviously, He didn't wind up having gaudy numbers. You know, I mean, so a lot of the quarterbacks now, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, these guys are just unfreaking believable the way they are. Yeah, he only went to four Pro Bowls. He was never an All-Pro, right? He only had his record was 117 and 117. And if it was, but, you know, basically, you know, I gotta be honest. If they never went to the two Super Bowls and he never became the MVPs and all that and everything, yeah, he certainly probably would not be a Hall of Famer. Absolutely not. But now when he retired, you know, I mean, just when he retired, I mean, everybody's numbers are going to get blown out of the water sooner or later. You know, but when he retired, he ranked 7th in passing yards. He ranked 7th in passing touchdowns. He was 10th in fourth quarter comebacks, and he was 2nd all time in consecutive starts by a quarterback. Since that time, it's been passed by Phillip Rivers. So you got Brett Favre, consecutive streaks by a quarterback. You got Brett Favre, you got Phillip Rivers, and you got Eli Manning. Now Eli Manning, you know, obviously if he wasn't benched by Ben McAdoo, you know, he would have far more starts than you know. Then I think it was like 210, I believe it was. So, you know, he would have more consecutive starts if he didn't get benched by Ben McAdoo. But it is what it is. But I mean, you know, yeah. So he's got, you know, I mean, Daniel Jones came and stay healthy for one season, and Eli Manning was staying healthy year after year after year after year. Now, obviously, in 2007, when he went to the Super Bowl, you know, he had a great defense, you know, which really helped propel, you know, them to the Super Bowl. You know, but Eli Manning, you know, was the Super Bowl MVP. I mean, you know, the offensively they had a nice. They had Ahmad Bradshaw, they had Brandon Jacobs. Ahmad Bradshaw was a rookie that year, 7th rounder out of Marshall. They had a good offensive line. You know, I mean, he had Monty Toomer, he had Plexico Burress, he had Jeremy Shockey. You know, Brandon Jacobs. You know, I said Ahmad Bradshaw. You know, I mean, the good offensive line, but their defense was very, very good. But you know. You know, he outdueled. You know, it's just like stories. It's like, you know, 18-0, the Patriots, 18-0, Tom Brady, you know, Bill Belichick. You know, they're trying to become 19-0, right? And he wound up beating them. And what he had, the last drive, he had to score a touchdown. It was 14-10. Couldn't kick a field goal. Had to score a touchdown. And he did. He drove. They scored one touchdown all frickin' game. David Tyree caught a pass earlier in the game. All the first 55 minutes, whatever it was of the game, they scored one touchdown. You got the ball pretty much maybe one more time. This is it. You don't score a touchdown here, you lose. The Patriots win. What did he do? Drove them down the field. Got a touchdown. They got the win. Huge. But in 2011, yeah, I mean, so obviously in 2007, he had some help. I mean, I said the defensive front was great. They kept harassing Brady. They sacked him 5 times. They kept hitting him over and over and over. 2011 was a little different story. They only had 2 sacks in the 2011 Super Bowl. Justin Tuck got them both. So, I mean, you know, there was definitely a lot different in 2011. 2011, Eli Manning carried the Giants on his back. We're going to the Super Bowl, right? He had some unbelievable numbers in 2011. At 4,933 yards passing, 29 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. His quarterback rating was a 92. He had 8 fourth quarter comebacks. Very, very impressive. In 2011, the defense was, you know, I mean, it goes to show you. 2011, the defense was ranked 27th overall in yardage. I mean, horrible. 2011, we couldn't run the ball. Just couldn't run the ball at all. We were 31st ranked. We were the 31st ranked offensive line according to Pro Football Focus. Right. I mean, we couldn't run. We had a horrible offensive line. We had Will Beatty, Kevin Boss was in there. I mean, this was McKenzie's last year. David Deal and Chris Snead, they only played 2 more years after that. They were getting beat up and banged up, and also our offensive line was horrible. So our offensive line was ranked 31st according to Pro Football Focus. We were last in the NFL as far as rushing yards, dead last. We had Danny Ware, Ahmad Bradshaw, Brandon Jacobs, and we can only average 3.5 yards per carry. I mean, our offensive line was not very good at all. We had some decent running backs, and we had to do it with the passing attack. And if you don't have a quarterback and throw the ball, it don't matter who your wide receivers are. Doesn't matter. You got Hakeem Nicks and Mr. Salsa, Victor Cruz out there. Doesn't matter. You gotta have your quarterback there. The 2011, we were absolutely horrible running the ball. We had to do it with the passing game. Then they get the championship game against the 49ers. He was sacked 6 times. He kept picking himself up off the ground. Half the time his helmet was on sideways. He's like, look, what the hell? What happened? Completed pass? I mean, his jersey's pulled over his shoulder pads. His helmet's on sideways after getting hit over and over and over again. But he kept standing there, kept getting hit, he kept picking himself up. Got us to the Super Bowl. I mean, unbelievable. Once again, he got to the Super Bowl 46. Again, he outdueled the Patriots, outdueled the GOAT, Tom Brady, outdueled possibly the GOAT, Bill Belichick. Second straight time. And once again, in the fourth quarter, he needed a score. This time, they were down 7. Real interesting score. They were down 17-15. So they only needed a field goal. But they got that pass to Mario Manningham down the sideline. I mean, what a throw. He had pressure right in his face as he's getting ready to throw the ball. Pressure is just about ready to nail him. Throws the ball, drops it in down the sideline. Right. Oh, what a pass. What a pass. Didn't need a touchdown, okay? But he needed at least a field goal. But basically it was kind of the same thing. You might have the ball. This might be the last time you have the ball. You got to score. We only had 15 points. And actually 2 of those 15 points was from a safety. So actually the whole game, the Giants scored 13 points. Right? So you got the ball maybe one more time. You got to score if you're going to win. He drove them down the field. They score. And they won. I mean, absolutely fantastic. Then not to mention, okay, that, his record in the playoffs, very impressive, 8-3. Now, they lost, 3 times, in the playoffs, in the first round. They got knocked out. But the 2 runs that they had, they were 4-0 in 07, 4-0 in 2011. I mean, absolutely just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, just listen to the quarterbacks he beat, all right? And notice there's a little theme going on here, okay? All right? He beat Brett Favre on the road. He beat Aaron Rodgers on the road. He beat Jeff Garcia on the road. He beat Alex Smith on the road. He beat Tony Romo on the road. He beat Tom Brady in 2 Super Bowls on the road. Now, the Giants were the road team for both of those. I mean, with the Patriots were the home team, whoopee-doo. It's not in their home stadium. But, I mean, there were plenty of Giant fans there. Okay, but it wasn't a home stadium, right? So, I mean, the only game that he won out of those 8 games at home was against Matt Ryan, and the Atlanta Falcons in the first game of the 2011 playoffs. That was the only home game out of those 8. Only home game that they won at home. 24-2, they beat the Falcons. And in that playoffs, and the record still stands today, it's going to get broken sooner or later, but Eli Manning has more passing yards in that 1 year worth of playoffs than any other quarterback had in any other year in history. So it's going to get beaten one of these days, but I mean it still stands the test of time. Like 10 years right now. But 8-3 in the playoffs, the 2 Super Bowl victories, the 2 Super Bowl MVPs. And it's the big thing. Is what I look at. When you're going into the Hall of Fame, you're looking at the best of the best. I mean, some of these guys are bringing in now. No, they're the best. Absolutely freaking not. can you tell the story of professional football without talking about Eli Manning? And if the answer to that question is no, then he's a Hall of Famer. And as far as I know, you cannot tell the story of professional football without mentioning Eli Manning's name. So therefore, he's a Hall of Famer. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time any day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!